Hi, folks. I want you to meet Vinny. Vinny is Lee's boyfriend. And when you see that your girlfriend is into Playboy and Penthouse, you don't feel that she's looked at as an object by other men?
Well, yeah, I know that she's looked at as an object, but, you know, I really don't have a problem with it. See, nudity in this country is a lot more harsh than it is in, you know, overseas. It's no big deal at all. But, you know, when I hear some of the talk that's going on, and some of it's wrong, you know, the therapist up there, whatever she may be, a lot of it's wrong. You know, Lee's father owns an aviation company. She was a private eye in Florida. I have a ton of money that, you know, she don't need to work. She's putting her kid through school. She's making a lot of money. To me, you know, I don't mind what she's doing at all. I
and
know
you don't think
it's
demeaning?
It's not demeaning the way that I look at it. If it's demeaning to some people, see, the thing that I look at it as, you don't want to look at a magazine, you don't want to buy a magazine, you don't want to buy a movie, you just don't buy it. Nobody's forcing you, nobody's breaking your arm to buy it.
That alone could put the people out of business.
I think that we have to look at what does it mean in a society that in order for women to put their children through school, in order for women to make money, that they have to take their clothes off. I think that we need to look at that. And I think if we say we're committed to the equality of women, then we have to actually question that the whole rules of that game.
Question here.
I think by and large, the pornography industry is an industry that's patriarchal, it's male-dominated, and it mostly profits off of the exploitation of women. But I wanted the director, or I don't know, you're involved with the National Coalition for Women Against Pornography. I think you need to be careful when you say that feminists oppose pornography, because there's a growing number of feminist filmmakers who are making pornography from the point of view of women.
Okay. What do you think? Well, I was talking about the feminist anti-pornography movement, and I know that there are women who are making pornography, but actually they receive tremendous backing from the male-dominated pornography industry.
But doesn't it make you feel a bit better? I mean, I know you're totally
No,
against
that's a
this
marketing
stuff.
strategy. The pornographers are doing whatever they can to get an ever-increasing larger market. They've expanded into computer pornography. It's simply a strategy on the part of the pornographers to increase their profits, to say, well, a woman made this. But the pornography really pretty much is the same. It's still the exploitation of women. It still reduces women to a collection of body parts and teaches men that women are sex toys available to them, and that will undermine, of course, the equality for all women.
Let me bring Valerie in here, folks. I'd like you to meet Valerie. Valerie lost a husband to addiction. This may be an extreme story, but I'd like you to listen to this. Valerie, welcome, and tell us how addiction to pornography played such a pivotal thing in your life.
About 17 years ago, I married a man who had an addiction, and I didn't know it. And we were married for about 3 months, and we were moving, and I found a box of porn underneath the bed, stashed away. And I was really surprised because I had no idea that this was going on. And when I asked him about it, he said that he didn't need it. He just looked at it, that there's no big deal. So he took it out in the backyard and he burnt it. And I thought that was it. And then over the next few years, I found him going into the adult businesses to look at the movies, and I kept finding more magazines. And for me as a woman, it was devastating. You know, being a newlywed, I wondered what was wrong with me that would cause my husband to want this. Wasn't I enough? I couldn't understand what was going on. And so when I found him in one of the adult businesses, I went for counseling, and the person I chose was my pastor. And when I went to him, he told me it was my fault.
The pastor told you it was your fault.
And he told me...
Now, wait a minute, let me get this straight. Somebody else's addiction is your fault.
Well, this was 17 years ago, 16, 17 years ago, and people weren't looking at it as an addiction.
But wait a minute. I mean, everybody in here reacted. But to be honest with you, our research shows that women who are going through this difficult thing with a husband or a mate being addicted don't talk about this.
Right.
It's embarrassing to say, my husband. Is that the type of thing that you felt as well?
My husband, it was certainly my ex, not addicted, but it bothered me because he was kind of choosing, yes, magazines and pornography over me in our personal life. Like when I would be home, he would want to go to the strip clubs, and I was like, well, I'm there all the time. I want to be home, and you know, he couldn't understand that. So I can't. So there is.
First of all, I'd like to say from before that these women are bright. I mean, they're making more money doing what they're doing in a free country than, you know, we would make even on Wall Street.
I worked as an accounts payable, so I know.
Yeah.
And second thing, I can't see why your husband would look, anywhere else. You're
That's what I couldn't
beautiful
understand. But
lady.
you know what? It's not her fault, and it's not anyone's fault. It's something that stems back to his child. It's something that came out of what he was before.
Let's continue this talk about addiction to pornography, because you were bringing up a lot of different issues here. One is how a woman feels when she finds that a man is looking at an awful lot of pornography. And I want you to continue your story, because when your husband had to make a choice,
That's right.
he chose death, and we're gonna talk about that. It goes to one extreme to the other. Also, when we come back, we're gonna bring in that sex therapist, I promise you. She's gonna tell us why many things that turn men on turn women off. Once again, differing on subject, this time pornography. We'll be right back.